further ado, Miss Sarah Brightman, are you ready for the questions from the press?
Yes, I am. Yes.
All right. Okay, so we've got a few questions here. This one, we've got one from News 5 and one News PH from Mr. Von Belinario. Hello there. How special and different is this concert from all your previous tours?
You know, it's very personal to me, first of all. So it's very special to me because Christmas for me is a very, very special time of year, as I'm sure it is for many people in the Philippines. So therefore, you're carrying across a very sort of something that's very personal to many people. You're carrying that across to the audience. So it's actually quite a responsibility. So this particular concert, I took really great care on what pieces of music that I chose, and knowing that some people would like to hear some hits from me as well as Christmas music. I've intertwined all of these pieces together, so my hits may have a slightly different arrangement, so it has a more Christmas feel. Obviously, some of the Christmas songs, there are traditional ones, there are religious ones, there are fun ones. There's a complete mixture there, but everything intertwines beautifully. Also, I took very special care in creating a very visual treat for everybody. So it looks, you know, it's intimate show, but it has a very spectacular look as well. And and it creates many moods.
It sounds like it's going to be a treat for both the ears and the eyes. So it's exciting. We can't wait to watch it. All right. Now we have a question here from Manila Times. Mark Bonifacio says, how does it feel to be coming to Manila for a concert?
You know, I have been to the Philippines and to Manila once before, and I was incredibly upset that I didn't have the time, because I was moving to another country for another concert, that I didn't have time to really enjoy it, and I think I do this time. So I'm dying to, obviously, because of the city's history. I really want to look at some of the architecture. I know there's a very Spanish feel to the architecture. Yes. I want to obviously enjoy the food more. I want to just get out there and enjoy the city, because I mean, it's huge, and I know it's growing all the time, and it's a very important city. So I'm always interested in different cultures. So I think, you know, that's another reason for wanting to bring this concert. Also, I think that, you know, for people in the Philippines, it's a very important time of year. I know that you start celebrating even in September. Lucky you. So I felt that of all the countries I'm going to, this is particularly an important one to bring this to.
You make it sound like we celebrate as in literally the festivities here. I don't know why we do that. I don't know why we start celebrating in September, but I get it. I don't know why we do that though. But yes, we sort of do a countdown starting September. As the Burr months hit, we start the countdown, and we're just so eager for the Christmas season. And yes, I think as a Filipino myself, of course, I do believe that we put so much value into the Christmas season. So yeah, it's gonna be a perfect way to celebrate with you here in the Philippines by then. And yes, let me just also put it out there that I volunteer to be your tour guide, to show you the places, to feed you when I'm in Manila. So letting you know that.
I will take you up on that.
Thank you so much, Miss Sarah. All right, so we've got another question here this time. It's from the Philippine Star, from Natalie Tomada. Hello there. You came here way back 2004. Any memory that stood out to you on your last visit? Or what is something new or different that you want to see or do this time? I guess you answered a bit of that, but maybe you could say some more.
Well, I do remember having some extraordinary food there. And me being a foodie, and I love food, I'm very interested in it. It's certainly always a great reason to come back, apart from singing for everybody. So that is one thing I am definitely going to concentrate more on, is choose some really interesting and wonderful dishes from there.
Well, there you go. All right. And we are excited for you to give us a feedback of how our food is for different people, yourself included, of course. We have a question here from the business world, Michelle Soliman. How did you go about the song selection and tell us about the stage production? Now, you mentioned earlier that it's going to be quite a feast for the eyes as well, but how did you decide to be nitpicky about this and that?
Yeah, well, I think especially with the sort of Christmas repertoire, it was really a case of, obviously the first thing is to find pieces that you're really suited to singing, because that's important. I wanted a lot of choir, because I always think that choirs represent angels. They have that wonderful feeling about people singing together, that wonderful thing. So a lot of the songs have a lot of choir singing along. I wanted to create a concert that had a lot of tradition in it, so pieces that people were very familiar with. I wanted to bring the religious aspect into it, the Christianity into it. So there are religious pieces in there. There are also some fun pieces, some more contemporary pop pieces which bring in Christmas. And of course, because I know when I come to the Philippines, people always want to hear some of my hits. So I've chosen hits which fit well into Christmas. They're about celebration, or they're about sort of like personal thoughts, those sort of songs, and I've linked them all together. So that's really how I've made a Christmas show. And also for the visuals, the visuals are very intimate and very beautiful, because I always think with Christmas, although there's a lot of bling and there's a lot of color and razzmatazz around it, actually people, they really enjoy the intimacy of Christmas, being with their family, very personal feelings, all of those sort of things. So I've created, as well as some fun lighting, we've created some very intimate, beautiful lighting for the show, which gives people a lot of feeling. And also the looks of where the orchestra are placed on stage, the way the stage is, it's almost like, as I said earlier, a little bit like looking into a snow globe, so that you come into our world, into the Christmas world.
You know what? I just have this feeling that aside from giving us a very fun performance, you're going to be making us leave the concert feeling all fuzzy with how you were able to describe everything earlier. I just imagine feeling all kinds of fuzziness come your concert, come the end of your concert, rather.
Yes.
Are looking forward to that.
Well, that's my job. That's my job, is to make people leave a concert with all the right feelings, all the feelings that they came for.
Well, again, looking forward to that. We have a question here from Jojo Panaligan of Writer PH. Hello. How special is it to put together a repertoire that is centered around Christmas?
It's very personal, putting a repertoire centered around Christmas, because you have to take into consideration people's feelings at that time of year. And sometimes it isn't a great time for people. They struggle some years. We all have been through sort of like Christmases that haven't been great. Either we've lost somebody, or we're feeling alone. There is that to consider. So as well as having a lot of sort of wonderment and beautiful pieces in this of the Christmas repertoire, I also have some songs that reflect on struggle. And that's important, because Christmas always brings those, if people are going through struggle, it actually enhances that feeling with people going through this. So I felt it was important to bring that element into the concert as well, that everybody is very, very aware of the struggle that some people are going through at that time of year.
I totally agree that, especially for the past 2 years, everybody has been through a lot of things. And once again, very much looking forward to having a brighter Christmas, hopefully this year. And of course,
Yes.
to match your concert, your songs as well. Here's something
Yeah.
quite lighter. Here's a light question from Malaya of G Triliana of Malaya. She says, or they say, how do you spend your Christmas? Oh, aside from concerts, of course.
Well, my concerts always go on right before, so I'm absolutely exhausted when I get home to Great Britain. But our holidays generally, and in my family, because we're Christians, we we celebrate really starting, although the 1st of December we start winding up like you do in towards it, but really it starts Christmas Eve and it ends at the end of the Boxing Day. So it's like a 3-day holiday. And during that time, I have a very large family. I have 5 siblings. They have all their children. We obviously we have our parents and then some uncles and aunts and whatever. So it's a lot. It can be 22 to 30 people around our table. And what we do on Christmas Eve, it's about everybody coming together. There's lots of excitement. It's about having a meal together. We'll generally have some fish or something like that, or cold things on the table. And then we'll go to midnight mass. Then the following day, we open our presents under our tree. And then we have a huge late lunch, which goes on till the evening. And then the following day is Boxing Day. And that comes from an old tradition of basically people that had a lot of food and wealth. They would box up everything for people that didn't have so much, so that everybody enjoyed a wonderful meal at Christmas. So that's our 3-day. And then I think we're all tired of each other by that time, and then everybody goes off to their homes.
That sounds like such a nice tradition, the whole Boxing Day.
Isn't that great? I know it is. It's lovely. I mean, we're not doing that, but it's a day to remember that, and it's talking about having a wonderful time, but it's a time of year when we have to think of whoever we know that's struggling, that there are people out there that are struggling. So it's that sort of, you know, it's a charitable day. It has that kind of feeling about it.
Truth be told, I'm really glad you actually cleared what Boxing Day is. I hear that all the time in social media and pop culture, but coming from a country that adores the sport boxing, I thought of something very different. So thank you so much for clarifying what Boxing Day is. I was thinking, are they really big fans of Manny Pacquiao? I'm kidding, but yeah, thank you again. It's a very nice tradition you guys have going on, and yeah, we do have some stuff similar like that, but again, it's really mostly family centered. So yeah, it's quite similar, you know, your traditions and our traditions here. And thank you again for sharing how you guys go about your Christmas. And although I know that you're so busy with work on Christmas, it's so nice to know that you still manage to actually really spend time with your family during the Christmas season, which during Christmas Day in general. Cool. Thank you. Okay. We have a question here from Koji Morales of a 103.5 K Light. What is the most unforgettable Christmas story you have, and what song would you associate it with?
Do you know, I think obviously the first Christmas I can remember of being a baby was, it was completely magical. Obviously, I'd never seen anything like it, and watching the lights go on the trees, the presents going underneath the tree, going to church with all the lanterns and the beautiful sort of lighting that they use in the churches. It all was very magical for me, very, very mystical. So that was probably my most unforgettable Christmas. And I would probably associate with that the song Silent Night. It's a beautiful song, and it can be sung in the German language as well. But that's the song I associate it with, and I am singing that in this Christmas tour.
I was just about to ask you, and yeah, thank you. We are looking forward to that rendition of Silent Night. Thank you so much, Miss Sarah. Okay, next question we have here from the Business Mirror, Edwin Salian. Do you have any particular favorites among the pop songs that you've covered? And will we be hearing some of them in this concert, if you're willing to share those information?
Yes, I'm definitely singing some of my hits, because I know that people wanted to hear them, and obviously, you know, they're celebratory pieces that I chose. So we've got a wonderful choir singing Masquerade, which was in Phantom, and then we do Phantom of the Opera, which is kind of, it's interesting because you always colors red and dark, and I think it will be a fun sort of gothic Christmas piece to to do at that time. So yes, there'll be some renditions of some of mine done in the more Christmas spirit.
That's interesting because a lot of us here, of course, are fans of Phantom of the Opera, and we cannot wait to hear your rendition, your Christmassy version of those Gothic pieces.
Few more sleigh bells, things like that.
All right, up next is a question here from Soundcheck Manila from Jamie Ortega. What are some of the most memorable moments of your career, and any plans to return to Broadway or West End?
You know, never say never about Broadway and West End. But you know, to tell you the truth, I'm not sure I could manage those 8 shows a week anymore, because. But then again, I do so many concert tours that often, you know, we do a lot of performances in a week. So maybe I would have the strength to do it. I'm not sure, but it's always wonderful to get into a different character and play somebody other than yourself. That's what would get me back there. But the first question, which was, what was the first part of the question?
What are some of the most memorable moments of your career?
Oh, right. Okay. Do you know, I would say actually doing the 2 times that I've sung the theme song for the Olympic Games. There's something, you know, like with musicians and sport people that do sport and are stars in the sport world. They're the 2, you know, a couple of the things that bring, no matter what's going on with countries, wars, everything, it tends to, sport and music tend to bring people together again, because, you know, we all love music, we all love sport, and so I think singing those theme songs and being there at the Barcelona Games, the Barcelona Olympics and the Chinese Olympics were incredible moments. So I would say they're the most memorable, and what happened within them as well. But I could write a book on that.
So we would buy that book.
Yes, but no, they're the most memorable moments.
Thank you again for sharing those. And seriously, though, we would probably book with all your many gigs before, with the many experiences you've had. They sound so interesting, especially with the way you describe them. So it's safe to say we're probably going to buy a copy of that book. That imaginary book you've got going on. All right.